Hello and welcome to the Twins Off Daily podcast, brought to you by twinsdaily.com, the premier destination on the entire interwebs for your independent Minnesota Twins coverage. How the heck are you, everybody? I'm your host for today's episode, Sweet Lou Hennessy, and I'm gathered here with two of Twins Daily's finest, and I'm going to introduce them right now. Mr. Gregory Masterson, what's going on, my friend?
How we doing? Has anybody here ever drank blue milk?
Yes. In fact, I have.
Wait, have you really?
I have. I tried that. Yes.
The same blue milk, the Star Wars blue milk that's out right now?
Yeah, when I did it, there wasn't so much like shame involved as when you did it. I tried it out of pure curiosity with like a small glass full. But Greg, what you did, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, I walked myself into a bet that nobody actually challenged me to. I saw a bottle of blue milk on Twitter, and I quote tweeted it and said, "If the Twins lose tonight, I will drink the entire jug of blue milk." And then they lost, so. As a man of my word, I marched on down to the local Target and bought myself a jug of blue milk. It kind of tastes like vanilla ice cream, but
Yeah.
I drank half gallon of it, and I don't recommend it to anybody else. But it like in small doses, I think it was fine.
Oh my gosh. I thought with just like a small little half glass, oh my gosh, everything in moderation, people. But you know what? Let's keep moving on. Our next guest here is another pride of Twins Daily, Melissa Berman. What's going on?
I'm doing great. This is my first Twins Off Daily podcast that I've been on, so I'm super excited to join you guys. I'm not drinking blue milk right now, but I have this bubbly. It's called Melted Ice Pop, but it's just basically
No free ads.
off essentially. So yeah, it's not I don't know. It's pretty fun. I think they sell them at Target. I'm not sponsored, but yeah, it's not beer. If you see me drinking at all, it's just this. So
hey, good enough.
I don't think we can mention Target one more time on this before they have to sponsor us.
Yep. Rules are rules, Target. That's it.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Nice. Well, I'm very happy to be gathered here with you two, as well as our dear listeners here for the Twins Off Daily podcast, for all those people that are starved of some Twins content on this off day. So full disclosure, we're recording this on Sunday night of June 16th. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock, and the Twins are currently in their final game against the Oakland A's. I believe they're up 6-5 right now. So we are going to do as much of our kind of recap without the finals of that game, unless they come in during the show here, which would be pretty exciting. But let's just keep moving on. So like last week, we decided to kind of switch things up a little bit and have kind of the heavier baseball talk front loaded on the first half of this episode. So if that's what you're here for, that's what you're going to get first. And then we're going to kind of move on to some of the sillier, kind of more off the wall topics. But we hope you join us for those too, because we put a lot of work into it. So we thank you very much. But without further ado, let's boogie on over to our next segment, which is the rapid recap since our last show. Okay, team. So what are we thinking? The Twins have had a pretty successful stretch since our last show, which was June 3rd. Actually, I should say it started out pretty terribly. They went 0-3 against the New York Yankees, and then just 1-2 against Pittsburgh, coming away with that final win on Sunday there. But they turned things around when they came home, and they went 2-1 against the Colorado Rockies. And by the time this game is over, they will be either 3-1 or 4-0 against the Oakland Athletics. So let's just talk about some of the things that are standing out to us. It definitely feels like this Twins team kind of hit a different gear halfway through the stretch here and are kind of playing their best ball at the end of the series here. But Greg, what stood out to you? Is anybody standing out as who's hot or who's not for you today?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that it's a little easy to kind of heat up at the end of this stretch when you're talking about playing Colorado and Oakland, not to cast aspersions, but it's easier to be doing really well against those types of teams. In terms of who's hot, who's not, you know, I love me a good role player. And so I want to give a shout out to the three guys who are effectively right now your kind of platoon-ish bats, Manuel Margot, Kyle Farmer, and Carlos Santana. Over the last couple weeks have all been doing pretty well. Margot especially has really settled into his role. He's slashing something shoot, I meant to look this up, but I don't have it in front of me now. My bad. Yeah, he's got an OPS over 1,000 over the last couple of weeks. He's been absolutely tearing it up against left-handed pitchers as long as he's not pinch hitting. He is 0-18 as a pinch hitter this season, which is hilarious given, recent developments for the Twins streak. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Got broken last year. That was an 0-18. So
I'm not aware of any streak. I don't know what you're talking about. The Twins won a bunch of games in the playoffs last year. Anyway, go on, keep going.
Yeah, I've got a pretty short memory too. But it's been good to just see kind of those role players actually start to knock the ball around. Kyle Farmer was in the pits, I will say, and over the last couple of weeks, it's only been 13 plate appearances, but he's got a 900 OPS. It's been nice to see these role players fill their roles. Who knows, if we roll the dice 13 more times for Kyle Farmer, he might have an OPS of 0, but it's been nice to see those guys kind of coming through in their narrow roles.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is Gregory T. Masterson is calling for a 10-year contract extension for Kyle Farmer. Look, it's been a big couple of weeks, but geez, Greg, I think you could really kind of back off the Farmer train a little bit. Melissa, what are we thinking? Who has stood out to you as who's hot, who's not, who's really catching your eye here?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, obviously, looking back to the Yankees series, we knew that was going to be tough playing in the Bronx, tough to rattle off some wins from them. But as we saw the lineup of teams reversing before the All-Star break here, we knew we had a good chance to just kind of go on a roll. So it looks like we're starting to kind of close the gap between Cleveland and the Royals a little bit, which is nice. And I mean, it's easy to look good versus teams like the Rockies and the Athletics, but I feel like we beat up on these bad teams better than Cleveland and Kansas City do. Although we saw, Kansas City rattle off a win versus New York the other day too.
Yeah.
So it's, I wish we could close the gap between us and the Yankees, but not yet. We'll see them in the playoffs though, right?
Sure.
But anyway, as far as who's looking hot, I mean, obviously Correa, heard all of us talking on Twitter saying how overrated he was and how overpaid he was. And, his gloves looking, super great, platinum glove, but his bat hasn't answered yet. And I mean, he's got 2 home runs today. The game's still going, maybe a third one. Obviously Royce Lewis. I mean, he got a home run in almost, I think, every game since he's been back, I believe. So, I got a little nervous watching earlier in this game here. He fouled the ball off his foot. And I was like, we don't need that, but he's still in and looking great. So maybe he'll get his 3rd home run of the game today too.
That would be a lot of fun. I'm just touching on a couple points here. That New York Yankees team, I hate how good they are. They are just top to bottom, such an elite team in the league right now. And I'm not trying to downplay getting swept by them twice by any means, but they are a class ahead. I feel like their starting rotation. Judge and Soto hitting back to back. They're very, very tough. Another point that both of you actually brought up was the idea of kind of eating off some of these teams that have losing records right now. And I think there definitely is something to that. But it shouldn't be understated. They had a come-from-behind win against the A's when they were facing Mason Miller, who's been one of the top arms in the American League this year, throwing as hard as Ron Duran. So that was encouraging to see. That's something that you can take away from these series against so-called wrestlers. I know that's not how look at them by any means. That's kind of more of a fan standpoint, but there's definitely some stuff you can glean from those series wins for sure. Nice. Okay. Well, now that we've talked about them, are there any players in the minor leagues who have caught your attention in the past couple of weeks that we should keep our eye on? Let's start with Melissa this time. Melissa, any minor leaguers stand out to you?
I haven't been paying as much attention. I've just been so locked in on the Twins. So pass it to Greg on this one.
Okay. How about this? What if out of the former Twins that kind of went, that were sent down, which do you have the most faith that they can come back and make a significant difference there? Melissa might be in and out here. Greg, let's switch it over to you. Any minor leaguers catching you?
Yes. A couple weeks ago, I talked about our friend Zebby Matthews. And it was a tough decision for me because I almost wanted to give a shout out to, I've already laid out all my biases. I'm a huge fan of large guys who hit moonshots. And I'd like to say that Aaron Sabato until like this last week has kind of been hitting the cover off the ball over the last couple. So there's a soft spot in my heart for players like that. Hopefully he's able to kind of pick it up a little bit. Former first round draft pick that has really struggled, isn't on like top 30, 40, 50 lists anymore for the Twins, which is unfortunate. So he did have a huge, we're recording this Sunday, so 2 days ago when you're listening to this, had a huge walk-off 3-run homer to win it for the Wind Surge. Hopefully that starts another hot stretch for him. He's got an OPS about 770 right now on the season down in Double-A. And as a guy who just loves big guys who hit dingers, I'm pulling for him.
I believe you phrased it a little bit differently on Twitter. Do you want to try that again, maybe, Greg?
Shoot, did I? Big fella who dings dongs?
Yes, who, quote, dings dongs. So thank you for adding that to our lexicon here, Greg. Yeah, no, he's Sabato, somebody who I'm really happy that is kind of turning it around here. You know, he was a first round draft pick when they didn't have as much, gameplay data. That was during 2020, right? That was the 2020 season when he was drafted. And so, from what I gather, a lot of that data that they had was kind of the raw off the bat numbers of the ball. And that was kind of helping to determine the decision there. But it's nice to see him kind of turning around. Melissa, while you were gone, Greg was talking about Aaron Sabato standing out, and he also mentioned Zebby. Yes, he dings dongs. And he also mentioned Zebby Matthews, who our friend Jamie Cameron actually guaranteed that he's going to have a Garrett Cole-like career, and anything short is a disappointment. So if Jamie promises that, I who am I to deny of that greatness? So here's hoping that Zebby Matthews, the next Garrett Cole, that would be quite exciting. Okay, well, with that down, how about we go to our biggest talking point, which is the big inning. This week's topic is the ridiculous surge that Carlos Correa is on. We kind of mentioned it already in the Who's Hot and Who's Not segment, paired with the incredible return from Royce Lewis. I feel like that they've been kind of the top story over the past, week or two here. What do we think? Is this the best kind of, back-to-back punch that we've had in a lineup since, I don't know, anything coming to mind, Greg or Melissa? Either one?
You can go, Greg.
I was just I was going through my Rolodex of 1-2 punches. I think it's hard to say, I guess. It's hard to compare because this has only been a couple weeks since we got Royce Lewis back in a Twins uniform, and he's playing like the greatest player in the world right now. Like it's been out of this world, something we can't possibly expect from him for the rest of his career. And Correa's been on one of the hottest streaks that we've seen. I think the most recent streak I can think of like this is like Byron Buxton's April in 2021, maybe. That was something just insane. I mean, but the two of them being able to hit those guys back to back, and Buxton also kind of starting to heat up a little bit. It's something just beautiful. It's so much, especially we've spent a lot of this year kind of dreading different parts of the lineup. When your top half of your lineup looks like that does right now, and it's performing like it is right now, it helps a lot kind of quell your stomach about, guys that might be struggling further down.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And with Carlos Correa especially, I feel like this is the best he's looked like as a Twin. Greg, it sounds like you're taking it a step further and saying this is the best that any Twins hitter has looked in the last, stretch of years. Is that correct?
Like off the top of my head, I didn't do a StatCast search or a StatHead search, but that's, I can't remember. Maybe Max Kepler had like a streak like this last year at some point over a 2-week stretch. But I mean, the stats are going around right now. It's like nobody has had a better 10-game stretch or 18 hits in 10 days since 2010 Delman Young, which, that's great praise for a player. But still, like we're talking about something that we have not seen. The amount of hits that he's getting in such a short time isn't something that Luis Ariz did while he was a Twin.
You know what, Carlos Correa, anytime being mentioned in the same sentence as Twins legend Delman Young, you got to be doing something right. So
I have a
we will
Delman
gladly
Young
take it.
jersey somewhere in a box in a closet that I haven't given away yet. I don't think anybody would take it, but I definitely do have one.
Well, that's some flex right there. I gotta say, I know that Greg has an incredible collection of kind of odd Twins jerseys, but that's one to add to the list. Melissa, kind of going back to Correa here, do you think that he's kind of living up to the expectations of his, big contract, corner locker in the clubhouse? He's kind of the guy for the Twins, it kind of seems like. So do you think that he's living up to expectations? Because he's gotten a little bit of criticism over the last week from some pretty prominent sports writers in the neighborhood here. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really good to see the last couple of weeks he's had. I mean, I think this is not only obviously his best stretch he has had as a Twin, but I think this is his best streak in his career, even going back to his Astros days. So yeah, he is definitely living up to it. I remember when we were talking about, way back a couple of years ago, contract negotiations with him. Basically, people were saying, like, in itself, he is such an amazing leader. What he brings to a clubhouse, give him a blank check with whatever he wants, and he'll be worth it. And obviously, we've seen his glove on the field up until this point has been, worth the money. But now his bat is really living up to it too. And obviously, all of his leadership skills. I know he was slumping for a little bit, especially at the start of last season. I know we like to say he doesn't play super well in the cold, so it's been a nice warm spring and summer here so far, so that's been good. But he also reached out to Luis Ariz and got some batting tips with him, so he should send maybe a little bit of that contract money to Luis as a thank you. So
maybe you know what, I love that we can kind of glean some of the intangibles to Carlos Correa's game, the things that don't show up on a scorecard. You talk about him being a good leader, you talk about him being kind of the face of the team. But I love when he has like a really good at bat, or he gets, he sees the pitch that he really likes and he comes around to score or something. And then you see him like whispering to some of the guys on deck about something that he's like picking up from the pitcher or somebody. I love those kind of things that you don't see in on the scorecard at the end of the game.
And that literally happened today.
Did it happen today some more too?
Yes. Yeah. So, tomorrow for all the listeners, but when he and Lewis went back to back at the beginning of the first A's game today, he whispered in Lewis's ear and Lewis swung first pitch and put that one in the right field seats. And also, if I can plug somebody, Bobby Nightingale had a good story in the Star Tribune this week about Carlos Correa's leadership skills. I think. Can anybody confirm that? Am I imagining?
Producer Lenny will be on this.
We'll get Lenny on that.
Yeah. No, it's been like I said, they've kind of, between Correa and Royce, they've kind of been the story the last few games, it feels like. Correct me if I'm wrong. Besides maybe the City Connect stuff or the Flo Rida concert, which I do want to hear all about. On the field, they've kind of been the premier guys kind of really coming through. We've seen some big group efforts too, but those two seem to be leading the charge. So with that down, Melissa, you were at the game for that Flo Rida concert, right?
I was, yep.
Yeah. What did you think? Was it a ton of fun? Because literally one of the biggest regrets of my adult life was missing the T-Pain post-game concert last year. I can't stop hitting myself over missing that.
Yeah, so this was the first post-game concert that the Twins have held on a Friday. Previous ones have all been on a Thursday. So I think this worked really well to have it on a Friday. Pretty much, I would say the whole crowd, or at least all the young people, stayed for the concert, and everyone just packs into the lower level. If you guys have been at any games or seen, they're selling these really tall margaritas called the Relief Pitcher now.
What a great name. That's amazing.
I was at the game earlier today on Sunday. It was really hot, and they were just, making a killing selling those Relief Pitchers. So they were selling those during the concert as well.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. This is the third year the Twins have been holding these free post-game concerts. And I just think it's a really great way to get fans who otherwise might not go to games to come on out. And I mean, it's a pretty amazing deal, for the price of $10, $15, whatever you pay for a ticket, you get to see the best baseball players in the world and then a full length concert afterwards. Flo Rida is a great performer too. I've seen him at a Vikings home game before. So he was, he was throwing roses to the crowd at one point. He got like a piggyback ride during, I don't remember what song, but yeah, he just put on a phenomenal show and the crowd was really into it. Definitely, like I said, a predominantly young crowd that stayed for it. However, I was next to a dad with probably a 12-year-old, and the kid was seemed like he was having a lot of fun. So
wait, so
nice.
Sorry, it's pronounced Flo Rida?
yes.
I thought it was Florence.
Yeah, he and T-Pain are both from Florida.
It's pronounced T-Pain?
Oh boy.
Tallahassee, short for Tallahassee Pain.
I know. I heard that on the podcast yesterday.
Is that real?
Yes.
Yeah. So so last year, the Twins have brought in a bunch of country artists before. Last year they had T-Pain and then Carly Pierce as artists. And this year, I believe they only have one concert on the schedule with Flo Rida. But I think they did a pretty good job of choosing someone who, millennials and Gen Z could get into. The older crowd was, they've had their curmudgeonly comments on all of the Twins posts promoting it. But like I said, I think the Twins are doing a good job and really making a concerted effort to get younger fans in seats, whether it be from college night deals or drink deals or concerts. It seems like that's definitely a goal of theirs.
Yeah, that's huge. I think the only way it could have gone better, from what it sounds like everybody had a blast there. It looked like a great show. The only way it could have been better is if Max Kepler could have made like a cameo on stage after hitting the walk-off and the 3-run home run. I feel like people would have gone nuts, and his new swag with the City Connect jerseys would have been really fun. You know what? I'm going to talk to some people because that must happen next time. Okay, well, with
speaking
that
of City Connects.
Uh-oh.
How do we feel about the City Connects?
It's when I first saw them, I thought I need to see them in action first. I need to see them on the field, and I think once I saw them on the field, I liked them a little more. I always really liked the jersey and the hat. I love those two. The weird off blue color pants are what really does it. I don't love that. I don't vibe with that. I think it would look a lot better with white pants. And I actually threw that out on Twitter, and Dan Hayes of The Athletic said that he thinks the league is going to accept their request to do that next year. So fingers crossed. I would love to see what that looks like, because I think the top and the hat are both pretty fun.
I think we got to talk about how bad that loon patch is, though. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it look like a water droplet, but it's a little too, it looks like, a Minnesota like squadron or something. Sure. It looks like very Winnipeg Jets to me. So not a fan of like all the shirts that are coming out with the big loon logo. And but otherwise, I have a mixed bag about them. I think the blue color is nice. I'm glad we didn't, we went for it. We did something unique. We didn't just do black or, navy blue. Yeah. I agree. I wish the pants were a different color. And I still am not really sold on the gold. I know they were trying to get kind of artsy with it. They're like, oh, this is like from a sunset. But I would have liked to see maybe like a light blue on the bill. But we got to talk about how beautiful that patch is, though. The Minnesota is beautiful. So I have mixed feelings, and they feel a little Brewers to me. But I will say, being at the game yesterday, Saturday, and then earlier today, game one of the doubleheader, they do look really nice on the field. They pop. They're nice, nice blue shade. So
nice. Gregory, I feel like you have some thoughts. I can hear them bubbling over.
I mean, I will say I do think that they look a lot better on the field than they did in the pictures and all of the promotional material. I will agree with that. I don't know. I've become a little bit notorious for having hot jersey takes. It's fine. I don't really agree with the concept of a City Connect in the first place, I guess, or at least what it's kind of turned into. Like, I get like it's an opportunity to do something a little bit zany, but I'm a sucker for the classics, and I love the navy jerseys. I would have loved a red jersey. I would have loved a baby blue jersey. I will say I'm completely vindicated, as I have been saying for a year now, is that the Twin Cities jersey, which is a standard a standard jersey as opposed to your +1 City Connect that Nike mandates. It is they admitted themselves that it's their kind of idea of a City Connect jersey. It would be the best City Connect jersey in the league. So I'd like to ask Lou for you to apologize from last pod for that. Now's your time.
Did I say that wasn't the case?
No, well, you didn't say that's not the case, but I did point it out, and you said that's enough out of you, Greg.
Oh, how dare I say that to you? Unbelievable. You know what? I apologize. That makes a lot of sense that would be their City Connect jersey. I got to say, too, just real quick before we move on to our next segment, I really love the Father's Day and the Mother's Day when it like really matches, when it really hits with their uniform. Like tonight, they're wearing their classic white with the red letters, and with the splash of like the baby blue on it. It looks really good, in my opinion. I think it looks really good. But sometimes they do that, and it's with a different color blue jersey or something, and it doesn't look right. But I love it when it clicks, and they're clicking tonight. So that's been really fun to see. Okay, well, let's move on to our next segment here, which is Picks to Click.
And I do want to, I just got a Slack message from producer Lenny. Yes, okay. Bobby Nightingale did write a story on Correa's leadership in the Star Tribune. I would recommend. Sometimes those get into puff pieces. This one was good. He did really good work. Second thing from producer Lenny is while we were gassing up Carlos Correa, he hit an RBI single in the bottom of the 6th. So just want to keep everybody up to date. He is still doing his thing.
Dude, producer Lenny sending you up. That's so crazy. He doesn't even have thumbs. How does he text this to you, dude? That's so crazy. Producer Lenny on another one. All right. Well, with that down, let's move on. Our next segment is Picks to Click. Okay, so last week's Picks to Click. For those who may not realize, Picks to Click is a game that we play every episode where we pick a category and we say which twin is going to lead them in that category until our next episode. So with last week's episode, we asked which Twins pitcher is going to have the highest win probability added. Nick Nelson picked Griffin Jax. In the stretch since our last show, Griffin has a .02 win probability added, which was 9th on the team. Cody Schoenman picked Diego Castillo, who had a negative .03. That was good for 11th on the team. Greg picked Jorge Alcala, who had a solid .19 win probability added, which was good for 4th on the team. But your champion was myself, Sweet Lou Hennessy, who picked Joan Duran, who came out with a .64 win probability added. So I get the win on that one. I think that 2-inning game that he had the other night against the A's is probably what pushed him over there. Let's move.
Does that include game 1 from Sunday?
I believe it includes game 1, but not game 2 yet.
Okay. Well, I think that, my narrative is that he just came and passed up Alcala today on that, and I totally would have won it. So
let's go with that. Greg gets a moral victory. Everybody, please clap for Greg. Okay, good job, Greg.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, listeners.
Okay, so that leads us to our all-time standings, where I'm at the top with 3. Greg has 2. Sherry is on the board with 1, as is Matt Braun, and Nick Nelson and Cody Schoenman are on the board. They are not on the board. I apologize. They each have 0 correct picks.
Theo also has 0. I just noticed that we're missing him from our leaderboard.
Theo Tollefson.
So I just wanted to throw him under the bus. So.
Yep. Theo, if you're listening to this, you are at the bottom of the leaderboard. Congratulations. So let's move on to our new picks, which is a surprise to Greg and Melissa, but we're going to guess which Twins hitter is going to have the most walks between now and next week's show, which is just next Monday. It's only 6 games. So let's go, Melissa first. Which Twins hitter do you think is going to have the most walks between now and then?
Let's see. Well, I'm not going to say Correa or Royce because obviously they're just hitting everything right now. I'll go with Margot.
Wow. Okay.
little bit
Little
of a
dark horse. I like
yeah.
it. Okay. We'll put that on the board. Greg, what do we think?
Oh gosh. Carlos Correa, they're going to start walking him. I'm going to go with that one.
Okay.
They're just
All right.
not going to throw it to him. Carlos Correa, let's do that.
They did intentionally walk him on Saturday, so Athletics did.
Do those
Or
count,
Friday.
Lou, as the official scorekeeper? It would have been Friday because Saturday there wasn't.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Friday.
Well, I think I'm going to pick. I think I'm going to go with Carlos Santana. I think that he's going to get plenty of play. He's got that veteran eye. I think that he gets walked a decent amount to get to who's behind him, just based on the fact that he's usually hitting kind of 7th or 8th in the lineup spot or in the lineup from game to game. So I'm going to go with Carlos Santana. All right. Well, very good. That was a fun round of picks to click, but let's move on because one of us has a lot of gripes, and this is his chance to air them out. Our next segment is Gregory's Gripes. I love the entrance music to Gregory's Gripes. It fits itself perfectly.
I love the countdown, the very hoarse countdown that only an astute listener might be able to hear, depending on the quality of your stereo.
Correct.
Because everybody's listening to these on a stereo, right?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. With the big horn, the big yes. Exactly.
Yes, of course. I load mine up into my Victrola, so that's how I listen to all my podcasts. And this is going to be another Jersey gripe. But this is more of a complaint. I referenced it in my recorded gripe that I released on my Twitter account earlier this week, which, for the record, is mostly in jest. You can tell when I'm actually cooking in the middle there. I had some legitimate gripes that I had, but a lot of it was just for fun. But I am very annoyed by people who, like, when jerseys come up, say, well, I don't even notice that what jerseys they're wearing. Like, oh, they had New City Connects. I didn't know. I'm there to watch. Okay, stop lying to yourself. Of course, everybody notices which jerseys. Like, maybe you don't have like a tally in your head like I do constantly. Maybe you're not visiting the uniform lineup page on the internet all the time, which is a great page if you're into jerseys. There's like a repository going back to like 2011 of the jerseys and the hats that every single team wore every day on the calendar. Love that page. But I'm really sick of hearing people say like, oh, I've never noticed a jersey. Oh, they have new jerseys. I didn't even notice. Like, okay, like, yes, you do notice. Like, if you saw a really ugly jersey, you would look at it and you would say, that's an ugly jersey. Like, if you had like a dark brown, green colored jersey and you're watching your favorite team, like, nobody's going to be like, oh, I didn't even notice. I was just so much into the baseball. Like, you should care that your team looks decent. Like, you don't have to be like some sort of connoisseur, but like you're lying to yourself and others if you're saying that that's something that you never notice or that doesn't matter whatsoever. It doesn't really matter, but it does for the viewing experience. You want people to be looking good. That's my gripe.
Greg, is there somebody in particular who you have this pickle with? Are you trying to, I don't know, call anybody out here? Is this a sub gripe?
Like, let me think. I've heard it from a lot of people. Let's think. Seth Stowes, if you're out there, I believe that you're a person who abides by this. Aaron Gleeman, I believe you are a person who abides by that. What's that guy's name? Ross Brendel from Score North. I know that you also abide by that. Those are the three that I'm able to think of off the top of my head who I've seen say that or heard say that. And I just think that you're lying. Well, yeah.
You
sure.
three,
we're going to accuse.
You know what? Greg's kind of throwing some tomatoes over here, but you three, I consider you friends of the podcast, and just know that Greg does not speak for all of us here. Well, Greg, that was good. Anything else you want to get off your chest before we move on? Oh boy.
No, you know what? I've complained enough today. Okay. I think I'm good.
Sounds good. Well, dear listener, for you, do you have something that you want to gripe about? Please, please hit us up on Twitter at Twins Off Daily or at Greg T. Masterson if you want to release some steam. We are here to hear your gripes always and forever. But let's move on to the last segment of our show here, and that is the closer. Okay, let's boogie on over to the closer where we have one of everybody's favorite games here, and that is the Immaculate Greg. And I'm going to hand this off to Greg to explain it, and he can walk us through what we're going to do.
Alrighty, so Immaculate Greg, we've played it a couple times on here before, but this time we are going to change it up just a little bit. We're still trying to figure out the best way to do it, but I think that this is a solid one. So I've got my Immaculate Greg up here. If you're not familiar with the Immaculate Grid, you should try it. It's a fun game. I have a reduced version here that are a little bit more Twins-centric. So as you're looking at this, if you're looking at it on YouTube, you can see that I have 4 categories: former Tampa Bay Rays, former Oakland Athletics, a category called Metrodome Darlings. Metrodome Darlings are just somebody who played at the Metrodome. And then the last category is That's Enough From You, Greg, which is our shorthand for saying somebody who, you know what? I actually just realized I mixed it up. Somebody who was a Twin for 1 year, and then we said, that's enough from you, Greg, about it. So those are our categories. If you can see the grid, wherever those 2 categories intersect, we try to find a player, a twin, who fits into that category. So in the top left, we're looking for a twin who is an A and a Ray. In the top right, we're looking for a twin who played for the Athletics and only played for the Twins for 1 year. In the bottom left, we're looking for a Tampa Bay Ray who is also a player at the Metrodome for the Twins. And in the bottom right, we are looking for a twin who played for only 1 year, and that 1 year was in the Metrodome between the year 1982 and 2009.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the Metrodome Darlings, do these players need to have played for the Twins in the Metrodome, or could they have played for a different team in the Metrodome?
Had to have played for the Twins in the Metrodome.
Okay, fine.
Who was going to be your pick there, since it doesn't count?
No, rules are rules, Greg. Let's proceed.
Fine. So this time, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a snake draft, and we are going to each do our own Immaculate Grid. So I trust that the 2 of you will be marking your own little notes to make sure that we're keeping track correctly of who's where. But we're going to do a snake draft. One by one, we will add somebody to our grid. It does not need to be in the same box, so we don't all need to start top left. We can choose whichever box we want, but we have to fill in every single box by the end of it. I will put together everybody's grids, and by the time you're listening to this, there will be a poll over at the Twins Off Daily account with the results of our draft, and you'll be able to vote on who you think filled out the best Immaculate Greg. Do I have any questions from the participants?
I have another one. So for the fan votes, I guess you could call them, are they voting on which is the, just in their eyes, the best? That could mean the most obscure, that could mean the most popular players. They're just voting on what they would qualify as the best, right?
Yes, so their favorite, their best, whichever. It's a subjective thing.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Any other questions?
Ready to rock.
Okay, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Whoever is closest or on that number will get to choose where in the snake they get to draft. So what are your guesses?
Melissa, you go first.
Okay, I will say 3.
Okay, 3.
I will say 6.
It was 7. So Lou, where in the draft do you want to go? 1, 2, or 3?
I want to go 2.
2? Melissa, where do you want to go? 1 or 3?
I will go 3.
Oh, 3. Oh, so you're giving old Greg the number 1 pick. Oh dear, I had not anticipated this. Okay, cool. So we will go Greg, Lou, Melissa, Melissa, Lou, Greg.
Yep.
All good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So I am going to go top right. That's enough from you, Greg. Oakland Athletic, Bartolo Colon.
Oh, good
Oh,
pick.
that was one of mine. It's a good one.
Great pick. Okay,
Okay.
with that down, I am going to go the bottom right. That's enough out of you, Greg, a twin that was only here for 1 year and who played at the Metrodome. I'm going to go with the legend Joe Creedy.
Joe Creedy. Okay. Melissa.
Let's see. I'm gonna go for the Twins A's, but only 1 year as a twin. How about Orlando Cabrera?
Oh, yes. Great pick.
Good
We're
one.
reaching into the vault on that one, but
Love
That
it.
was a good one. And then you got your second pick then?
I do. Let's see. I'll do the A's, Rays, and Twins. I'll do Rich Hill.
Rich,
Okay.
great one.
He made it on he was kind of everywhere in the league, including all three of those teams.
Yes.
And
Great pick.
So when somebody makes a pick, another player cannot use that same person, even in another square, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
Rich Hill could not be that's enough from you, Greg, or a Rays A's Twins.
Okay. All right. Okay, my turn then. I am going to go with, let's see. I'm going to go with a twin who played in the Dome era and also for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going to go with Mr. Denard Span, who I find to be just delightful. He was great in the booth, and I loved him as a player. So I'm going Denard Span in the bottom left.
Perfect. All righty. Then I am going to go in the bottom left, and my second monitor just died. I'm going to go. So a former Ray who played in the Metrodome. I'm resisting using a name that I used earlier in the podcast. I don't think anybody would vote for him, given his post-playing shenanigans.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go with Grant Balfour in the
Oh,
bottom left. Let's shout out to the mid-2000s Twins with old Grant Balfour. Just an amazing name for a pitcher. Like, you have to be good with the name Balfour. Like, you can't be bad because it's so easy to just call him Balfour, Just be a tough spot. And then for my third pick, as we start back up again, I'm going to go Rays A's Twins top left. I'm going to go with Trevor Plouffe.
I had him too. Yep. That's a good
Cool.
pick. All right, back to me here. I'm going to go with that's enough out of you, Greg, and a Tampa Bay or a Oakland A's. So top right, and I'm going to say Tyler Clippard. I thought he was a fun little addition to the team, and I love somebody who throws both a changeup and a splitter. And the only way that we differentiated it before kind of the what's the word I'm looking for? The radar could catch up to pitch types. The only way that we charted it between his splitter and his changeup was which way he fell off the mound after pitching. I thought it was really interesting.
Really?
But yeah, sorry, I'm getting
That's
into
so
the weeds
cool.
here. Getting into the weeds of video scouting. But let's move on. So Melissa, your last pick, I believe, right?
Yeah, I
Last
believe
two.
so.
Last two.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the bottom left corner. So a Ray and twin who played in the Metrodome. I'm going to go with Carlos Gomez on that one.
Mhm.
Go.
He's like the subject of my favorite sports photo of all time. It was game 163 that the Twins won at the Dome. So
Yes.
Great shot.
love that picture.
Great shot.
I will say that's a number 2 for me behind the picture of Tommy from behind reaching home plate and like the entire team sitting around him. I believe it was 2010 and just the faces that everybody had. That's my number 1, but number 2, that go is great.
That was great.
And then your last pick.
Yeah, so I think the last one I have is the That's Enough from You, Greg, and Athletic, I believe, which I'm going to go with Kendrys Morales on that one.
Oh,
That's a
Reaching
pull.
the vault too. So
Legend.
Very nice.
Okay, for my last pick, I'm going to pick one of the most popular and beloved Twins of all time that was also a Tampa Bay Ray and an Oakland Athletic, and that was Saint Emilio Pagan.
Yes. Oh, man.
What's our friend Emilio up to right now? Do you guys know?
Giving up homers in
He
Cincinnati.
might be on the shelf. He might be injured. Maybe I'm making that up, but with the Reds. But he's off our plate. We can't deal with him anymore. Greg, you got one last pick, right?
Yeah, this is the tough one for me because you guys know I love me an obscure Twin. So, I'm looking at this list. My bottom right is the only one I have left, a 1-year Metrodome player. So I'm looking at like Tony Batista and Craig Keystone Monroe and Henry Blanco and Don Baylor and
I think I know where you're going.
Kenny Rogers, Pat Borders, R.A. Dickey. But I've got to go with my favorite jersey. Oh, I should also name off Phil Nevin and Ruben Sierra. All of those guys, like just a great collection of guys. But I've got to go with my favorite, Brett Boone, legend, greatest 60. What, is that not who you thought it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be Ruben Sierra, but Brett Boone is a great selection too.
Brett Boone, I think he played 12 games as a Twin, but hey, 1 year in the Metrodome, that's it.
That's enough out of you, Greg. / Brett Boone.
That was enough. Nobody ever gave him another chance. Okay, so my grid looks like top left, A's Rays, Trevor Plouffe. Top right, A's That's Enough Out of You, Greg, was Bartolo Colon. Bottom left, Rays, Metrodome Darling, Grant Balfour, and Metrodome Darling, That's Enough Out of You, Greg, Brett Boone. Okay, you guys want to recap yours?
Yep. For me, in the A's and Rays intersection, I have Emilio Pagan. For the A's, and That's Enough Out of You, Greg, I had Tyler Clippard. For Tampa Bay Rays and Metrodome Darling, I had Denard Span. And for a 1-year Twin in the Metrodome, I had Joe Creedy.
Let's see. For the Twins, A's, but only 1 year as a Twin, I had Orlando Cabrera. For someone who played for the A's, Rays, and Twins, I had Rich Hill. For the Twins and A's player, I had... Oh, who did I have for that?
Oh, no.
I know. Let me think for a second. And for the Twins, Rays, the Metrodome Darling, I had Carlos Gomez, and then I had Kendrys Morales for that last one.
That's right.
Sorry about that.
The picks were just so legendary that they escaped us for a second. Awesome. Perfect. Well, so that is good.
I will have that up on Twitter by the time that people are listening to that. That poll will be at the official Twins Off Daily Twitter account.
And if you listen via the Twins Daily website, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments too. We'll make sure to tabulate those
please tell me yours.
Yes. Awesome. Yes, absolutely. Please share your own immaculate Greg. But let's wrap up the show here with a quick look ahead at the schedule. So they stay at...
Lenny's been getting out ahead of himself.
Lenny, unbelievable. Okay, so the Twins, they stay at home for 3 more against the Tampa Bay Rays, and then they head out to Oakland for 3 more. Oakland might be looking for some revenge in that one, so it could be interesting to say the least. Anything scare you two over the Rays or the Oakland Athletics in these next couple series before our next show?
Anything scary? What are they, like boogeymen?
I don't know. Any thoughts going into these series? Any concerns for the Twins or things that will intrigue you in these series? So, for example, I am excited to see the Twins get more into get back at some of their former players. Hopefully, someone like Zach Littell in Tampa Bay, I believe that he's lined up to start. That would be fun to see a rematch there.
Oh man, Zach Littell! What a guy! What a fella! Yeah, I mean, obviously, you get 3 more games with the Athletics. You've got to make some hay with that. This is the last time they're going to be playing them for this season, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm just like straight dumping on this team, but they're just not that good. I will say I had this weird like scenario plan out in my head where the Twins, made that comeback and it was on Mason Miller. And next week, maybe they get to him again, do a little comeback, and then everybody starts talking about, the Twins are the ones that broke him. Wait, what if they traded for him at the deadline? And all I can think about is Jorge Lopez in 2022. Yeah, 2022. So that little scenario that's totally not going to happen definitely played through my head. But, and it's also the last time that the Twins are going to be at the Oakland Coliseum. So there's a small storyline that you want to look at. There's no telling, their little stadium in Sacramento might just be a different kind of bad for the next few weeks. But last series at the Coliseum for the Twins.
Yeah, hopefully they can get one last overflowing toilet in the visitors clubhouse at the Coliseum. Melissa, any thoughts on these two series or anything you'd like to see in the next couple series?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, obviously the Twins before the All-Star break have had just this run of versing inferior opponents, but it's a hallmark of a good team. Not saying that the Twins are extremely good, but it's a hallmark of a good team to be able to beat up on these bad teams. So we really need to continue going on a run here, and it'd be nice to be able to bridge a little bit more of that gap between Cleveland and Kansas City before the All-Star break. I haven't taken a look as far as what their schedules look like. I know Cleveland had like the Rockies and the Athletics a couple weeks ago, so they had their chance to beat up on these inferior teams. So hopefully these bats continue just flying on all cylinders here. As we're speaking right now, the Twins are tied versus the Athletics, so it's 7-7 in bottom 8. So hopefully we'll be able to win this one. Regardless, at least it'll be a series win, but I'm just curious to watch the Twins also.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Jose Miranda just hit a second deck home run to give them the lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Live updates here. I'd love to hear it. Jose Miranda, we haven't said his name one time on this podcast, but here he is sneaking in under the buzzer. So
Greg, I think you predicted the future there, Greg, because that hadn't happened when I looked up at my screen. 15 seconds later, there it goes.
Sorry for ruining the surprise. And for anybody who had the game DVR'd and is now listening before being able to catch the game on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, sorry, I guess.
Greg
Miranda has not been hot over the last couple of weeks, but he's been competent, and that's. But we also haven't mentioned Christian Vasquez. Shout out Christian Vasquez before we hang up the call. He's been doing his thing too.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you all very much for joining us on this episode of the Twins Off Daily Podcast. Please go check out the work, especially for Greg and Melissa. They do excellent stuff at Twins Daily. Keep an eye on what's coming down the pipe from them.
And
Greg, Melissa, any final words?
I was just going to plug you too.
Oh, well, thanks.
Also read Lou.
Well, I appreciate that, but thank you, Greg. That's enough out of you. On with the show. No, joking. Greg, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Melissa, any parting words for us?
Yeah, thanks, guys. This has been really fun to kind of recap how the Twins are doing with you guys and be on here for the first time. I'm excited to get back to the Metrodome. Oh my God, I wish. Get back to Target Field coming up this week. And for Twins Daily, I like writing a lot of fan experience type pieces. So look for some of that coming up.
Love it. We'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you all very much for joining us. And as always, stay sweet. Brett Boone.